Welcome to the Simplified Dentistry podcast. Join us as we discuss clinical, operational, and financial aspects of your practice, help you enjoy life, and dare to simplify dentistry.
Hello, and welcome to the Simplified Dentistry podcast. I'm your host, Murtuza Shah-Khan. Together with Rick Offutt, we're pleased to welcome Gary Bird to the show. Gary is the founding owner of SMC National, an Inc. 5000 fastest growing company 3 years in a row. Gary hosts the #1 rated marketing podcast, Dental Marketing GOAT. SMC National has been voted the best marketing company and best marketer by over 60,000 dentists. Gary is a nationwide speaker in the dental and entrepreneurial world and has been a longtime friend of Simplified Dentistry. All right, welcome back to the Simplified Dentistry podcast. I'm Murtuza Shah-Khan here with Richard Offutt, and we're super pumped to have Gary Bird with us. Well, Gary, thanks again for joining us, man. Look forward to have a great conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm excited to talk about dental marketing and growth and whatever else we jump into today. I love your guys' show. I've been watching it, so I'm excited to have this conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, a little catch up for everybody else. Rick and I were lucky enough to meet Gary about 6 months ago, I guess in January, at a dental podfest meeting. That was great. Got to talk to Gary, got to learn kind of the ins and outs and learn how little we know about dental marketing, and as a practice owner, how little I know about dental marketing. So it's good to lean on guys that actually know what they're talking about and know how to do what they're talking about too. So thanks again. So we'll jump right in, Gary. You know, one big thing we've talked about before, you and I, and I think one thing that'll be good for our guest is, you know, kind of the do's and don'ts for dental marketing, what you've seen in your time with what dentists do well, what they don't do well, and what they can do to actually get a good result.
Gary, tying into that, what are the A, B, and C? I mean, you know, what are the have-tos?
Yeah, so nothing is what it seems in dental marketing and growth, okay? So I'll start there. So the first thing that is most important for a dentist to understand is that most marketers do not understand dental, and most dentists do not understand marketing, which is, if you start there, then it's like, okay, well, how do we solve that then? And the number one thing that I hear from dentists, the biggest frustration that I sense from them is that they all say, well, I just want quality patients, Gary. If you send me quality patients, then everything's going to be fine. But how do you define quality patients, right? And so it's like, well, I kind of want a patient just to roll into my office, money spilling out of their pocket, and say yes to everything, and I'll be happy. The problem with that is that a quality patient like that only comes through patient referrals or doctor referrals. So the reason that you get certain patients that come into your office that just say, man, yes, this is awesome, I'm ready to go, is because someone referred them. Someone actually did the marketing and the sales for you already. And so you're just doing dentistry, and that's amazing. And let me be clear. Every single business loves referrals. I love referrals. When a dentist goes and tells one of their dental friends, go work with Gary, it's the easiest sales process. There's not a lot of questions. They're just like, yeah, just do what you did for them for me. And so it makes it really, really easy. However, marketing patients are not that way. Marketing patients are actually the worst kind of patients that you can get on the trust factor. Why? Because they're doing about 2 minutes of research on you before they call your office. And so patient referrals will call your office if you don't answer. If you don't know how to answer their questions, they'll still schedule. If you schedule them 3 weeks out, they'll still show up. If you present the whole treatment plan, the whole shebang, and it's way more than they can afford, they're still going to buy some treatment from you, even if you don't have good financial options for them to pick from. Marketing patients are not that way. If you don't answer your phone, they're calling the next office. If you don't know how to answer their questions on the phone, they're going to call the next office. If you schedule them 3 weeks out, they're going to no-show. And then if you come in and you give them, if they come in with tooth pain or a particular issue that you want them to treat, they're not going to probably do that with you if you're going to present the whole thing, right? If you're going to give them a whole complex treatment plan right when you meet them the first time. So they're much different kinds of patients. So people often ask, well, why should I market then if that's the case? Well, you have to learn a new skill set. Your office, that is. The office has to learn how to pick up the phone, how to convert on the phone, how to present treatment to them. The beautiful thing is if you want to grow, the marketing patients, once you get them to come in and accept some treatment and recare with you, then they'll start referring you more patients. And then now you get the high trust or the quality patients that you want. start to really compound for your office. And that's where real growth happens. The problem is that patient referrals are not scalable, meaning if you go, man, I need 20 more patient referrals next month, you're probably not going to be able to make that happen. Marketing is scalable. You can get 20 more or 40 more next month, or hire an associate and fill their schedule next month. And you have to, there's a lot of things that you have to learn in between there. So that's where I would say the biggest rub is in dental, and why dentists get so frustrated with dental marketing.
So what's so interesting there to me is that you're saying that, okay, patients that come to my practice because of marketing initially have lower trust, lower dental requests and whatever. But then as you're saying, once you treat them, you convert them, and then they become the hyper referrer, if you will. That's kind of a made up word, but they become the person that is talking all about you everywhere. That's such an interesting thing. I hadn't heard that. Why do you think that happens?
It happens because it's human nature, right? Like, if you do a good job and you take care of me, and then I'm gonna tell my wife or my husband or my kids to come to you. So that one marketing patient turns into 3, 4, 5 new patients. It's already been happening in everybody's practice. The problem is that most people's marketing is doing nothing. So this is the glass ceiling effect that I call it, and this is the majority of the dental industry. So you're spending $5,000 a month on marketing. You get about 20 to 30 new patients a month, and you look at all your dashboards, and it shows everything's at like 90% or higher retention and collections and all those kind of things, but you never grow. Well, that's not possible. Something's extremely broken. You should be full. Like, within a year, you should have to turn off your marketing and not have room to put any other new patients. But that's not what's actually happening in most offices. And the reason for that is you're spending that $5,000 on marketing. 35% of it is going down the drain because you didn't answer your phone during normal business hours. That's the industry average of missed calls. Those people never come back. You can't get them back. The average phone conversion for a marketing new patient is 50%. That's average. Most offices don't realize that. They say, no, we're great on the phones. They're great at patient referrals, not with marketing patients, though. Just so you know, patient referrals converted about 100%, while marketing converts at 50. Gives you about a blended ratio of about 75%. And that's what people look at. And then from there, the average time to appointment for the average dental office is over 2 weeks. It's like it floats between 2 and 3 weeks. That's going to put your no-show rate at about 30% for marketing new patients. When you add all those holes up, that means you're losing about 80% of your 85% of your marketing dollars down the drain before they even get to your front door. And that's not in your PMS. It's not in any of your analytic dashboards. None of those stats that I just gave you are anywhere. You might be able to cobble them together if you have a couple different things. We use a platform called Trackable. Most people don't use like a single platform that tracks top of funnel like that. So most people are sitting there looking at it going, man, why am I not growing? I don't get it. I'm getting, these new patients and I've just never grown. What's actually happening is you're getting mainly patient referrals that are making it into your office. Mm-hmm. You're losing almost all of your marketing before it gets there. The ones that are coming in, they're not accepting any treatment. They leave, they go to another office, and you're barely covering attrition, or you're actually, with inflation now, you're probably shrinking from a revenue standpoint and a profit standpoint. I should say from a profit standpoint. And so you just end up in a really bad spot, and it just feels like nothing's working. But in reality, your top of funnel is just absolutely just leaking out the side.
So, Gary, job one, answer the phone.
Yes. I know. It's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Well, you could take that one to the bank, Dr. Shah-Khan.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that we talk about in my office, too. Like, I've kind of, kind of a bare bones office that I, took over a while back. But it's, one lady up front, if one of the hygienists is, open, she'll help out up front. But, there are tons of missed calls because you're on the call with one patient and somebody else calls. They do that. You're missing existing patients. You're missing potential new patients. But the data driven stuff, I'm a numbers junkie. So hearing you throw out those numbers or stuff, it's stuff I've never heard, which is great. Because like you're saying, it's not trackable in your patient management software. It's eye opening and also disheartening at the same point.
So Gary, top of funnel is where you're saying the hemorrhaging is.
Exactly. And the reason for that is that practices are ran by dentists, and dentists are bottom of funnel minded naturally, both because they're treating the patients. So they're just focusing on the patients in front of them, but also most dentists would rather save $100 than make an extra $1,000. So top thinking, like growing the top line and those kind of things, is not the natural default position for a dentist, nor do we probably want it to be. We want our dentist to be more conservative and think about restoring the tooth and those kind of things, right? So they're naturally thinking that way. You have to almost turn off that part of your brain as a dentist and start thinking top line and growth and thinking about the top of the funnel. The patient journey before the patient gets to your office is really the key.
So when you go into a practice and you realize that the doc is the problem, what do you do?
So I wouldn't phrase it that way. I wouldn't say the doctor's the problem.
I was harsh. I was being harsh.
Yeah. No, so I would say that the dentist is preventing their team from excelling. I would go that far. So there's a couple different things. So there's, first of all, at the front desk, let's start there. So do we have a capacity issue or a capability issue? So that's the first thing that we're going to want to look at. And a lot of times it's a capacity issue. I could train my 16-year-old daughter to answer the phones at a dental office and convert the majority of the marketing patients coming in. It's not hard. Mm-hmm. It's to your point earlier, it's like most of the calls are coming in the morning, at lunchtime, and in the afternoon. Do you have people to answer your phones? If not, we have to figure that out. And if you're also having a multi-purpose front desk person, you cannot have them doing like a million different jobs and answering the phones. As an example, checking patients out, checking patients in. Like, you're going to lose opportunities and you won't grow. The other tricky part about the front desk, and this falls back on the doctor as well, is that it's usually the lowest paid position in the office. It's usually the youngest person in the office. And what happens if someone's really good at the front desk? What do? You instantly promote them. Oh, you're going to be a treatment coordinator. You're going to do AR now. You're going to do insurances. So you always have the lowest paid, least experienced person in your office at the front desk. And if they have any skill, then you move them. This is why a lot of offices never grow, is because you actually just cut off your top of funnel and you're constantly changing it. And that's a big problem. So that I would say that ownership does fall on the dentist. On the flip side, I do have some offices that they do a really good job of answering the phone, physically picking up the phone, but they struggle with accountability to the front desk of holding them accountable to following the simple scripting. And when you do that, you're just not going to grow that way either, because you're going to lose half of your new patients from conversion issues. And so the only way to really fix that is to take the actual calls, sit down with your front desk person and say, hey, Susan, let's listen to these together. Why aren't you following the scripting? Once you hold them accountable like that, they will start to listen to you. But a lot of especially doctors that just are newer to leadership and accountability and things like that, it's just uncomfortable. You know what I mean? No one likes doing that. So I didn't like doing it when I first started as a business owner. Now we review sales. Like, I record every call in my company, like every call, sales calls, onboarding calls, marketing launch calls, maintenance calls, all the recurring calls, and we review them. Like, we go in and we watch them and we go, okay, let's talk through this. What could we do better? How does a better way to approach it? And it really helps people. It's game tape, right? Like, how does Tom Brady get super good? Watches a lot of game tape. So that's what you have to do with your front desk if you want them to improve.
So study tape.
Yeah. Sorry, Rick. I was going to say, so are you doing that with your clients, Gary? Are you having them record their calls? So
I won't work with somebody if I don't record their calls, because I already know that's going to be a huge issue. Yeah. Okay. So every once in a while I'll have a doctor like, I don't know if I want you listening to my calls. I'm like, well, then I can't. We're not going to be able to work together. It's too big of a hole. It represents too big of a pie. To do that blindly.
That's interesting. The so scripting, front desk scripting for the calls, practicing the script is key to conversion. Is that fair?
Yeah, and also not inserting your personal opinion. You said earlier, like when it's the dentist's fault. So one of the things that I see that dentists do inadvertently is that they'll complain about patients that come in, but they say it out loud in front of their team, and their team begins to weed out those patients. And that is once that starts happening, you're cooked. So as an example, if someone calls in and says, "Do you take my insurance?" and you've roasted that insurance in front of that team member, they're going to weed out all those insurance patients. If you say, "Man, why'd you schedule this kind of patient at this time for this kind of treatment?" and like, they'll just start weeding those people out or not putting them on the schedule until later, and then they no-show. There's all these little things. Like if you complain a lot about no-shows, your team will start to delete the people from their schedule so they don't show up in your no-shows. And you don't even know that. It just looks like there was a gap in your schedule. You're like, I thought there was a patient later today, but it's not showing up. That's is why everybody has these amazing numbers. It's because teams will just delete people right out of your schedule, and then it doesn't count as a no-show. It's problem solved. Doctor's not going to complain now. And so it's like, how do I get clarity with my team and get them on board and get them to realize, like, we got to open the top of the funnel if we're going to grow, and then we'll dial in quality and those kind of things, but we'll do it in a two-way conversation, not me putting governors on the phone. Those are the kind of things I see happen all the time. And to your point, yes, you got to listen to game tape and you got to have conversations with them. What I do, if I really want to get it, if a dentist refuses to hold their team accountable, what I trained my team to do is don't give them stats. Don't say you're only converting at 50%. Take a call where their team absolutely dropped the ball. Take it and send them that one call and say, "Hey, listen to this when you have a second." And then they'll get mad, and then they'll actually start to do stuff. You know what I mean? They need to hear it more than just see the percentages. So that is the way to get movement and get people to actually act on making changes at the front desk.
Gary, it's interesting that you say that about the call with the insurance. Charlotte is a big banking town, and I was doing some surgery for one of the CEOs of one of our big banks, and who I also knew personally. And he said to me, he goes, "Hey, Rick, just file my insurance and then tell me what I owe you." So if my office had said, we don't do this or we don't do that, or we do this or we do that, here's a guy that could do whatever he wanted. He goes, "Hey, file it and then just tell me what I owe," type of thing. So it's interesting. It's interesting on the languaging, right?
It is. Like, I'll give you an example. All dentists hate a lot of their insurances, right? But what's the first question that you train your front desk to ask every single patient?
Yeah, do you have insurance?
Insurance.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I don't want to be insurance driven. Why are you talking about it so much then? Like, why aren't you focusing on why the patient wants to come in and wants help? Well, because if it's this insurance and we're only going to get this big of a rebate, it's like we're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies a lot of the times, and we don't realize it. And then you're training these habits into your team, and I've seen people that never overcome it, like they just are stuck.
So are you coaching people? There's an old Frank Spear book about how he looked at practice management and stuff, and he talks about kind of slotting patients into different categories in a way, like the emergency patient, the new patient, the one problem patient. Are you having those conversations with your clients on strategies on answering the phone that way?
No, it's even, with a doctor can handle those kind of complexities in the op, and a treatment coordinator can, but the front desk, it's far simpler. It's who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Let's figure out what you need. And then from there, it's like, let's get you in. Now, the one that really messes people up, there's two questions. Because there's only 4 different kinds of questions that patients really ask. Most of them are easy. Like, do you do this treatment? It's yes or no, right? And then when's your next availability? That one's easy. And then the hard one is how much? How much is this? This is the one that messes dentists up, because dentists typically train their team, do not answer this question. The problem is if you literally use that scripting, we're not allowed to give pricing over the phone. You lose 100% of those patients. No one's coming to you. On the flip side, if you start to give pricing, now you're diagnosing over the phone, and it's like, how much is an implant? Oh, it's $4,000 to $5,000. Yeah, except when it's not. You know what I mean? And do they need an implant? Do they need jaw surgery? Like, there's all these complexities. Like, that makes me, I'm not a clinician, but that makes me nervous giving prices over the phone. So if you're not supposed to give the pricing and you can't give the pricing, then what's the answer? Well, the answer is education. So if someone calls in and says, hey, how much is an implant? Sure, I'd love to get that to you. Tell me a little bit about the problem. Is the tooth impacted? I don't know. How many roots does the tooth have? I don't know. Well, you know what? Without that information, no one's going to be able to give you accurate pricing. So let's do this. Let's get you in for a free consultation. Doc will take a look at it. We'll tell you exactly what's going on, what the cost is, what works better for you morning or afternoons. That's it. That works for everything. Hey, how much is a filling? How many surfaces is it on? Right? Like it works for every single kind of treatment. We actually have a cheat sheet that we give our clients for this. It's so easy. It converts almost everybody. There is a small group that will push you and say, okay, well, just give me a range. And then you just give them a Monterey. Yeah. And if it's a simple thing, it could be $1,000. It could go all the way up to tens of thousands of dollars. There's no way to tell you that. It's like saying, how much is it to fix my car? It's making this noise. Rah, 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 rah. It's like, yeah, okay. So those are the tricky ones. Now, the other one that's really, really tricky is, do you take my insurance? And the reason this is tricky is insurances make everything complex on purpose. It's a feature, not a bug in their business model. Is everything's really confusing. So the best thing to do is just make the insurance the bad guy and just say, doesn't matter what your model is. It's just say, we have lots of patients that have that insurance here. Let's get you in. We can take a look and figure everything out for you. If someone's like, well, I don't know, and you don't want to make them mad and they come in and whatever, then just say, we can do a complimentary benefits check for you and figure out what you need and tell you exactly what's going on. That's like a secondary thing that you can do. If you say, oh, we don't take any insurances, or we're out of network with all insurances, you will literally lose every one of those patients. You will not convert. No one's going to be like, you're telling them, no, please don't come in. That's the scripting that you've given them. So you might as well not even market at that point. You should just go figure out how to get doctor referrals and patient referrals at that point.
Gary, is your mindset the come on down sort of mindset? Patients on the phone, they've got this issue, and the front desk is, well, come on down, let's figure it out. Is that sort of the gist of it?
If your marketing is set up correctly, yeah. Why would it? Yeah, exactly. Let's get you in and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because they're either calling for there's only 3 ways into a dental office. There's hygiene. I want to get my teeth clean. I get my teeth cleaned every 6 months. My dentist just closed down. I just moved from another area, whatever, right? So that's just like routine. That's simple, right? That's typically insurance driven as well. So it's even simpler. It's like my insurance pays for my cleaning, so I just want to get it done. That's huge. Those are great kinds of patients. You get a ton. If you can just get that person in and get them their teeth cleaned and get them to come back, that's 3 to 4 patient referrals right there over the next couple of months, like slam dunk. That's one kind of patient. The other kind of patient is problem driven. So they're calling about, my tooth hurts. I want my teeth to look better. I want aligners. I want an implant. I want this kind of things. Those are just coming in through an exam and x-ray or consultation. Those are the only ways that patients come in, and you got to have availability for them. And you need to know that if you're marketing for those or not. Those are all different kinds of patients. They're driven by different ways, and you have to have availability for them. A hygiene patient, if you put them out 6 months, they're going to no-show. They're going to end up, they'll schedule with you, and then they'll call other offices, and then they'll schedule there, and they'll forget to tell you, and then you'll get a no-show, and then you'll be mad, and you wasted money and time. Emergencies or problem-focused people, you need to get them in like 72 hours minimum. For an emergency, a true, like, oh, I'm in pain, you need to get them in same day, next day. And there's tons of opportunities like that. I'll give you an interesting little thing, project I've been working on. I work with a dentist in Texas, medium small town, not a big city. It's a suburb of a big city though. And they do after hours. So they only do after hours. So they start from 6 and they go to midnight. And we've been testing different things, like how many new patients can we drive for them. And they're all new patient driven, right? Like people come in, get their problem fixed, and never come back there. So it's not a hygiene recurring model. It's a one-time model. In their market, I think we could drive 200 new patients just on the weekends with problems, people with problems, 200. Because there's that many people who are like, I'm in pain. I need to get this taken care of right now. I might as well just get it done. And then they come in and they get whatever other work done they need. So there's in every market, there's tons of opportunity. That's probably the other big thing is that most dentists think there's not enough new patients. There's an abundance of new patients. There's actually not enough providers in most markets.
Interesting. Gary, one big question we always like to ask our guests is, we're simplified dentistry. So how do you make dentistry simple? What's a quick tidbit on, how with marketing you can make dentistry more simple for dentists?
Ooh, that's a good question. How do you make it more simple?
Mm-hmm.
Outsource it to somebody who knows what they're doing.
That's what I was looking for. Nice.
Yeah. You could figure it out. Like dentists are super smart. They can figure it out if you put your energy into it. I bet you I could figure out how to do some of my own dentistry too. But there's going to be
YouTube
a lot
videos, some Holiday Inn Express. That'll work out great.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could go watch a YouTube video and figure out some of my own dentistry. But it's going to be very painful, and there's going to be a lot of carnage along the way. So that's how I feel about dentists doing their own marketing. You got to use your time, unless you love marketing. If you love marketing, when I say you love it, you would do it for free to help your friends every weekend for a couple months. If you love it like that, then do your own marketing. But if you don't love it, then you should be outsourcing it to somebody and don't outsource it based on cost. Like this is the biggest mistake I have is like, I need marketing, $2,000 worth. Well, it's like me going into a dentist saying, I need dentistry, $500 worth. Really big mistake if you approach a dentist with that kind of attitude, because you're not going to get the outcome that you want. Same thing with marketing. You should start at the end. What are you trying to accomplish? And if you start with, well, I just want to build a website, then you're just going to get a website. But if your real end goal is to actually get more new patients, you need to start with that. And then you're going to learn really quickly if they know what they're talking about or not. When you say, hey, I need 20 more new patients. What is that going to take? And if they come back to you and they're just like, give you their standard package, they have no idea if it's going to drive you new patients or not. But if they come in and they start to break down, okay, well, what's your CAC going to be? What's your cost per lead going to be? What's your phone conversion look like? What's your capacity look like? Now they're having conversations with you to actually help you get to your goal. If they're not talking through that, it's a coin flip if they're going to be able to drive you the opportunities that they want and if they're going to be able to tell you where your holes are at.
And Gary, if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
You can find me on Facebook, Arguing with Dentist, at The Gary Bird, and I'm pretty active on there. And I have, that's my social media handle, The Gary Bird, or you can go to our company website, smcnational.com.
Awesome. Gary, thanks again, man. Really enjoyed it.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for having me on.